This is an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man action figure from SH Figuarts, and this is the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Today I'm testing this figure by recreating 10 poses from the movie and seeing how close I can capture the look of each of them. Will I successfully remake all of the poses? Let's grab our figure, accessories, and let the challenge begin. In this first pose, I'll recreate one of the movie posters where Spider-Man is high up and on the side of the Oscorp building. My figure is currently wearing a pair of relaxed hands, so I need to swap those out for a cone-shaped one and spread out hand as well. You could probably use both of the cone-shaped hands for this, but the spread out one makes more sense to me, plus it isn't visible in this shot, so it's up to the poser in this scenario. With that part taken care of, we can begin posing starting with the legs. For this leg, I focus on bending the bottom of the double jointed knees, but adding a slight curve to the top. His thigh area will be twisted at an angle, and his foot will be twisted in a way to stick to a surface. Spidey's other leg will be bent more to match the look seen in this shot, and I'll even bend the toe slightly and adjust the angle. I then proceeded by crunching the waist and diaphragm, and then adjusting his right arm to be in front of his knee. The rest of the posing was just a lot of adjustments on and off camera with the head, and making sure his left arm had a natural curve to it. In any pose you do, always find a way to put as many joints to use as you can. That's how you add realism to the poses you'll create. All that was left was to set up our camera angle, and that's our first pose of the video. For our second pose, I'll try recreating the shot of Spider-Man leaping forward. Moving the arms out of the way, I began bending his legs. An important detail of his right leg is how the foot is pointed down, so be sure to capture that, and also twist the thigh a bit. Spidey's left leg has a sharper bend to it and a twist in the thigh, and I made sure to keep the foot flowing with the curve of his legs bend, with a slight bend at the toe for some added flair. The next steps were moving the arms behind him and tilting the neck and head to look up. A trick to maximizing the tilt in an SH Figuarts figure is to make sure the dumbbell joint underneath is curving toward the back. Doing this will come in handy for one of the other poses I'll be doing later. Once again, I'll get the camera repositioned and we're ready to rock. Now these scenes move extremely fast, so the still frame I have will be blurry. However, with some patience, I can make this work. I'll only be swapping the right hand because in this shot it looks kind of relaxed. My first move was to get the curve going for his body. I think this will be a good starting point and I'll adjust it more if need be. The leg bending is the most important part of the shot though, and it's a bit tricky due to the perspective. A few things I noticed were the right leg was bent more than the left, the tip of the right foot seemed to be under the left heel because of the perspective, and the ankle of the left foot is twisted in a way that lets you see the bottom of the foot. These are all things I tried replicating as best possible, but I'd only know if I succeeded once I set up my camera angle after posing. I wasn't done just yet though. I still needed to adjust the arms, tilt the hands, and reposition the head, having it curved while looking through the legs in the direction of his swing. For the final touch, I'll use this web line the figure comes with, and Spidey is ready for action. The fourth pose is from the same opening sequence, but this time Spider-Man is tugging on a web while kicking his left leg forward. My hand of choice is obviously a gripping hand for his left arm, but we're also going to use a spread out hand for the right, which seems to be the best option after staring at this blur for quite a bit. First things first, I pushed his left leg out and added a slight bend with the foot tilted up. I then bent the right leg while keeping the top of the foot visible, twisted the upper body, and began repositioning the arms and hands. Looking at the shot from the movie, Spidey's left hand is lined up with his right knee and right hand, so I wanted to replicate that as best as I could. He's also looking down with his head turned slightly, which is another thing I'll need to capture. The only thing left to do was add the web line for him to tug on and we were ready to go. Here's a cool tip for those of you watching. When recreating some of the shots like this one here, I needed to place the figure higher than the typical articulated figure stand allows. I have several of these from the other figures I collected from SH Figuarts, so I had the bright idea to combine two of the arms. With the stand modded, I could now show off the fourth pose. Fifth pose isn't from the movie, but instead from the video game cover where Spidey is doing his signature upside down hang. I've already set up the figure with a pair of gripping hands for the web line we'll use later. So let's turn him upside down and get to posing. When it comes to this pose and using this particular figure, I'd say the trickiest part is the arms because the butterfly joints do have a bit of a limitation to them. However, after several attempts, I finally made it work and here's how it turned out. It wouldn't be a Spider-Man posing video without a crouch, so for our 6th pose, I'm recreating this shot from the movie. The best hands to use for this are the cone-shaped ones because those match the look seen in the shot best. I'll kick this pose off by getting his legs bent, and then I'll spread them open for the crouch.
What?
No, all right. I know that sounds bad.
He's also on his toes rather than having his feet flat on the ground, so the articulated toe joints will come in clutch for this. My next step was arching his back to get a nice bend going, and then bending the arms while pushing them in toward his chest. You'll want to make sure that the arms are curved slightly, giving the figure a natural look. As I mentioned earlier, make sure the joint in the head is twisted properly so you can have the head looking up further, which is necessary for crouching poses like these. After a few more adjustments, everything was ready to go. Coming in next, I've selected 3 more poses to attempt with this figure, but to pick up the pace, I'm activating a speed round. Let me know which pose you like the most. And for the grand finale, pose number 10, we have this explosive shot from the end of the movie where Spidey swings the manhole cover at Rhino. Now I don't have a manhole cover for this figure, but the scene was too cool to pass up. Like all of the other poses, I'll begin with the legs and make sure to add those slight twists and bends that really help elevate your posing. Next, I twisted the body and made adjustments to the arms and head. The arm at the back needs to appear straighter than the one at the front, which has a curve to it. After a few more adjustments, our final pose was complete, and I like how this one turned out. Let me know what you guys think. Well, there we have it, 10 poses from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 recreated with an action figure. I had an absolute blast working on this 3rd installment of the Pose series, and I hope you all enjoyed watching it. I do want to give a huge shout out to my friends Des Collects, The Lethal Collector, and Uni Sherman who helped me behind the scenes of this video, sharing their advice for each of the poses to make sure they were as best possible. It literally resulted in me posing and filming until late at night, but it was 100% worth it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more action figure goodness. I'll be planning out the next installment of the series soon, plus many more action figure reviews, but if you want to see more poses in the meantime, check out the first 2 videos here. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.